Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're all doing really well as always. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to my full song breakdowns and guitar lessons. Today we're doing Suffocating Under Words of Sorrow by Bullet of My Valentine from the Poison album. This one's a bit of a fan favorite from that era, and I've had quite a few requests to do a lesson video on this one, so you're going to find everything in this video from the riffs, the harmonies, the guitar solos, the song structure itself. We'll break it down section by section as per usual in my standard lesson format. We'll go through all the rhythm guitars first, and then we'll be doing the guitar solo last. So this is the 5th track from the Poison album, their first album, if you don't really count the EP. It's a little bit of a fan favorite. The band still play it every now and then in the set list, even to this day. And it's kind of got all the traditional sort of Bullet of My Valentine elements that you'd expect to hear in a traditional Bullet song from this sort of era. It's got all the sort of Bullet metalcore style pedal point riffs going on in it. It's got harmonies, it's got a guitar solo, it's got a very, very traditional metalcore style breakdown bridge section in the middle. And yeah, this one really sort of like took me back to when I first started learning this stuff, sat on my bedroom floor with my old LTD Explorer that I had at the time, just trying to work out the riffs and stuff. And you know, I think I speak for many people here that this album was massively influential on their playing style. So yeah, it's been really fun for me to delve back into this one, and hopefully I can show you the fundaments of this song, and hopefully you'll be able to follow along and it's as accurate as possible for you guys. I've already put the cover out for this song, so if you check on my last video, and if you want to see the song played up to speed, just go to my last video and that's the cover. One thing that I do want to mention as well is my source material that I've used to work this song out. I've used the track, of course, just putting that in Cubase and panning it around so I can hear what the left and the right guitars are doing, because they're playing at a counterpoint quite a bit in this song. I've used the two Brixton shows, the first Brixton show back in 2005, 2006 was it, where they played quite a lot of the Poison songs, including this one. You're really able to see what's going on guitar-wise in that show. And I've used the, was it the 2015 Brixton show, sort of Brixton Part 2. I used that show as well just to help me out with little bits here and there. What I also used as well was this little video of Matt and Padge on YouTube, just going through the main riff and the guitar solo as well, so that helped me work out the guitar solo to try and get that as accurate as possible for you guys. That also shows the harmony parts as well, so I've used that to sort of decipher what's going on there. I'll also talk about what gear I'm using. So I'm using my Mac Turk BC Rich. That's going into my Camper, which is going into my Scarlett Focusrite, and that's going straight into my digital audio workstation, which is Cubase. Okay, so before we get into the song, we're just going to talk about the tuning. It's traditional Bullet tuning. I think the majority of the Poison and a lot of the stuff this band have done has been in this standard drop C tuning. Okay, so you've got a D standard guitar, and you'll be dropping the 6th string down to a C. So low to high, that's C, G, C, F, A, D. C, G, C, F, A, D. The song's in the key of G minor. That also puts us in a relative of B flat major. Okay, so I've split the intro up into 2 parts. You've got intro part 1 and intro part 2, just to make it nice and concise and digestible for you guys, rather than it just being riff after riff after riff. I get lost doing it that way. So we're going to do intro part 1. The left and the right guitar are doing completely different things here. It's pretty much for the majority of this song, actually. The left and the right guitars are playing at a counterpoint to one another. So we'll take the left guitar first in intro part 1. I'll show you what that's doing. And then we'll do the right guitar, which is doing the higher sort of counterpoint harmony. So intro part 1, left guitar looks something like this. Okay, so that's that. You're just going to play that sort of main riff once, and I'm classing that, even though it sort of repeats, it's not like a total repeat, because the tail, the little thing that runs down the neck, that is different the second time round, so I'm classing that as one run of the main riff. Okay, so it's all going to be based off of your pedal point here, which is on the open 5th string, okay? And your frets up the top here, you're going to be on the 4th string. You've got 10 to 9, and you're going to be putting those pedal points in between. Watch my right hand. I'm down picking this whole thing, Bullet down pick this whole thing. If you're one of those guys who just can't do these things down picked, no pressure. Do it alternate picked. Yeah, it's not set in stone that you have to down pick this riff. However, if you want the same sort of sound, same sort of tightness, you know that the guys are achieving, it's on a down pick, okay? So you've got... Then we're going to go to 10, 12. There's a pedal point in between there. Up a note. And that's on the 5th string, so you've got... Then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing 12, 10 on the 4th string. With the pedal point in between. Okay, so far. Then what you've got is you're going to sort of finish off where you came from, which is your 10 and 9 on the 4th string. But it's 9, 10 in that order. Okay, so you've got... And then you're going to do like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the open. Okay, so everything so far. Okay, so that's your first part. Then what you've got is this sort of tail lick that runs down. And that's going to be 9 to 10, 7 to 9, 5 to 7. You're going to finish off on 4, okay? So you've got... So how you're going to be doing that is you're going to be 9 to 10. And that's a hammer on and pull off. Pick 9, hammer 10, pull 9. Then you're going to do the same thing over at 7 and 9. Then you do the same thing at 5, 5 to 7. And then you pick 4, okay? So it's... And to get that smooth, it's almost like there's a slide in between there, okay? Because you'll notice it's not... Do you know what I mean? It's not staccato like that. You know, you kind of slide in it in between. But it's not quite a slide because you are picking that next note that you're going down to. So the way I get it smooth is I don't let my first finger leave the string. Okay? So it's like a slide, but not quite. So that's that, okay? So... And that last one, you can either... You can do a hammer on and slide into 4. So 5, hammer to 7, pull back to 5, slide into 4. Like that. Or what you can do is... You can pick 4. It's entirely up to you. Live, I've seen them do it sort of like a bunch of ways, but they kind of, to keep the consistency, they kind of pick all the notes going down. Like that, okay? So it's entirely up to you if you want to... Or you can pick the last note. Okay, personally, I pick it just to keep rhythmic consistency. It just helps me out. So I'll play everything we've got so far. Okay, so that's everything so far. So after that very sort of legato walk down, the riff sort of starts again, but this time you're going to be starting on an unpalm muted 5th string, okay? So it's like, rather than, okay? So, like that, okay? So you've got... And the rest of it is pretty much the same, okay? So you've got... Then what you've got is the same sort of walk down that we did earlier, but it's going to be picked, okay? You can alternate pick it, you can down pick it, it's entirely up to you. And it's the same frets. You've got 9 to 10, 7 to 9, 5 to 7, and finishing up on that 4th fret right there on the 3rd string, okay? So you've got... Okay? Okay? So you put that on the end of that. Just like that. And I am palm muting those notes, by the way. If you don't palm mute it, it doesn't sound right at all. Okay, so you want to keep your palm on the bridge nice and far back to get that sort of really nice muting sound. If you come too far forward, just kills it off, okay? So get your palm mute nice and far back, just like when you're doing your pedal points on the open fifth string, okay? So that is your left guitar for intro part 1. I'll play the whole thing all together for you now, and then we'll move on over into the right guitar. So you've got this. Okay, so that is your left guitar for intro part 1. So the right guitar, guitar number 2, that's going to be doing something like this. And this guitar, when it properly joins in with the main riff later for intro part 2, this is going to be doing sort of the higher counterpoint, okay, or the higher harmony. So hence why when you're doing the tail at the end and it joins in, that's doing the higher version of the lick, the leady lick at the end, okay? But to begin with, we've just got some A power chords, and they're going to be palm muted on a down pick, okay? And then you've got two sort of strums next to each other on that A chord, but they're not palm muted. So you've got... Then to fill the gap, you do a pick slide. Okay, best way to do a pick slide, we've talked about this in all my previous videos, but I'll very quickly reiterate. Pick strings with wind-ins, okay? Come nice and far back. If you go too far forward, if it's a long slide, you might run out of neck. And take the side of your pick and just jam it in between 2 strings and just run it down the neck, okay? So far. And you ram an A chord right at the end of that, okay? So slide, A, okay? Then after that, you've got 2 strums on A, okay? And that takes you up to the sort of licky leady part at the end. So far. Okay, then what you've got is your sort of higher harmony for the leady walk down sort of thing. It looks something like this. Okay, and it's the same sort of idea as what the other guitar was doing, but it's just going to be higher up, okay? It's still on the 3rd string. You're going to be doing 12 to 14, 10 to 12, 9 to 10, and then finishing up on 7, okay? So you've got... Okay? And again, palm muted, all picked. Okay? So nothing too difficult there. I'll play the full thing for you again, and then I will move on into intro part 2 when everything starts to come together. Just like that. Very, very, very simple stuff. Make sure that you're happy with what's going on in the left guitar, especially in intro part 1, because that is going to be all your verse rhythm guitars over on the left. So we'll move on over into intro part 2 now. The left guitar we've pretty much done already. What it's going to be is it's going to be 1 run of the main riff, and then we've got some chordy stuff that's happening over at the end, which I'll show you. So left guitar, intro part 2 looks something like this. Okay, that is your intro part 2 on the left. So it's literally the same riff, literally exactly the same as you did in intro part 1. You're literally going to be playing that exactly the same way. Okay, so I'll play it through for you. Okay, when you get to that point, so it's just exactly the same as what we've just done, you want to do this very Matt Tuck chord, I guess. He's done it loads. Tears Don't Fall, Hearts Burst Into Fire, Dignity, this song, obviously. And yeah, he's done this chord a hell of a lot over the years. And it's a very, very big sort of bar chord, okay? And you're going to put your first finger right the way across 3rd fret, okay? And to begin with, you just want to strum the power chord as it is with just the first 3 notes. And you want just that. But waiting in the wings, you want your 3rd finger waiting over on the 5th fret 3rd string, okay? And your pinky on the 6th fret 2nd string. And then your 1st finger is going to be taking care of, because it's barred, the 1st string 3rd fret, okay? And you'll have those notes underneath. Now, that would be very awkward to move down for this next part. So if you bar your 1st finger across, you'll be able to catch all those notes, especially that little note that's hiding underneath the 3rd fret on the 1st string, okay? So you've got... Then what you've got is this. Okay, and the way he's getting that, he's not strumming the whole thing. It gets quite muddy. From what I can hear on the record, he sort of splits it. So he plays that power chord twice on the 3rd fret. And then you're going to go 1, 2, 3 strums from the 3rd string down, or even the 4th string down if you wanted to. Okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to bring your pinky in for 2. Then what you're going to do is take your pinky off, and you'll have those notes there. Your 1st finger will be taking care of the 3rd fret underneath on the 2nd and 1st string because it's barred across, okay? So... And that last one, it's 1, 2, 3, and you can down, up, down that last one. So the way I strum that is I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, okay? So if you include the little power chord at the beginning, you've got... You'll see tabs and stuff, and you'll see people playing it. They go back to the pinky position for the last one. But what I can hear is this chord at the end. Okay, so like that. And that's where that riff ends, okay? So, left guitar, entirety. Okay, and it ends right there. So that is your left guitar. Okay, I'll show you the right guitar now. That's going to be doing the higher sort of counterpoint, and it goes something like this. Okay, so it's just the higher version of the riff, and then you're going to be joining in with those big bar chords right at the end, okay? So it's the same picking pattern, okay, and it works exactly the same way, and we sort of alluded to it in intro part 1, what we're going to be doing here. But this time, your frets, I mean, you could string skip this elsewhere, but this is the way I do it. You're going to be doing 14 to 12 on the 4th string with your pedal points. And then your 1, 2 in the middle of that. Then what you've got is 14 to 15 with your pedal points in between. So then what you've got is coming back onto the 4th string. It's 15 to 14. And then 12 to 14, so it's... Okay? Then what you've got is the picky poly slidey thing going down. You've got that right there. So that is going to be 12 to 14, 10 to 12, 9 to 10, and then finish on 7th fret on the 3rd string, okay? So it's... Okay, then what happens is it reboots itself, but you're starting with that sort of unpar muted or accented A string. And then what you've got is what you did over in intro part 1 when we walk it down with the picking. Okay, so you've got 12, 14, 10, 12, 9, 10, finishing on 7th fret for 3rd string, okay? So it's... So you put all that together, it's not too difficult, just follow my picking, follow my patterns, it will sound something like this. So once you've got all that in place, once you've done your walk down, you're going to join in with the other guitar on these bar chords down the bottom, which I've already explained. Okay, so like that. Okay, so right guitar, intro part 2 in its entirety. Okay, and that's it. That is your right guitar, intro part 2, and that's an intro part 2, all guitars. So next we're going to move over into verse number 1, and to tell you the truth, it's literally just what you've played, but twice without the tail on the end. So I'll demonstrate both guitars for you just so you can see, but it is literally the guitar parts that we've just played twice over without the bar chord tail on the end. So watch what I'm doing and you'll get it from there. So your left guitar. Okay, then your right guitar. Okay, so that right there, that's your right guitar. And make sure you're happy with all that, because that's going to serve you for all verses that pop up in the future, verse number 1, verse number 2. So this song is very sort of copy-paste, you know, with the riffs. The same riffs are popping up quite a few times. And the chorus that we're moving on to now is not too dissimilar to that. Once you learn this part, you're going to want to do this for all your choruses. So this is probably why you guys wanted the lesson on this song now, right? This very strange, very licky chorus, I guess you could say, or very leady sort of chorus. It's how they're getting that sound again is very traditional bullet format. Left and right guitar split off doing different things, okay? But that's why it can sound a little bit confusing. So we'll start off with the left guitar. I'll show you what's going on with it, and then I'll show you a little bit of why it sounds so tight on the record. Okay, So that's your left guitar. We'll break all that down in a bit. I just want to talk about why it sounds so tight on the record and why it's so hard to play. Okay. Oftentimes when you're recording sort of odd progressions like that, where you've got some chords, then some lead, then some chords, then some lead, they'll record it separately. It's not all recorded in one take. Okay. So what I mean by that is they'll lay one guitar down going and cut it right there. And then what they'll do is they'll lay in the middle of that just to get it nice and tight. And it's to avoid a lot of string noise in the recording process as well, especially if you're playing with quite a bit of a distortion on and stuff like that. If you play that riff and you start moving around, you'll find that it's very hard, especially with like open strings and pull-offs and stuff. It's very hard to keep it quiet, you know, especially if you've gone from a big old bar chord shape like that into something small and single notey in between. It's also really hard to get that tight in one take. So to make it easier, they'll record the main rhythm part down. Like that, right? And then what they'll do is they'll go back over it and fill in the little leady parts in between. That's why there might sound like a touch of overlap as well between the chords and the lead parts that are happening. And for many years, for myself included, it led me to thinking there was more notes in there than there actually are, okay? So as usual, I've sat with this and I've sat with this and I've sat with this and I've listened to it and tried to get it as accurate as possible for you guys, because there's a lot of debate over what's going on in between those chords. So it's going to start off with your big sort of bar chord that we were doing earlier over an intro part 2, I guess. So it's the, and you're going to do it like that, okay? Then what you're going to do, you know, you could go to an A power chord right here, but I think what I've seen from the videos is they come to this A chord right here, which is 7th fret, first finger across. You're going to strum that twice. Okay, so you've got... Okay, obviously there's a little leady fill in between there, but that's the general outline of it. Okay, so you've got... Okay, cut it right there. And then what you're going to do is this. Okay, so that is a 3rd string pull off on the 4th fret. And then pick 5 next door on the same string, 3rd string. So I'm using my 1st and 2nd finger for that. So you'll have... And then you repeat. Okay, so it's... Okay, just take your time with that one, keep it slow. Don't put any extra notes in there, okay? Otherwise it will start mudding up, so. Okay, so that's your first part. Then what you've got is it starts again with the bar chord. Same idea with the 2 strums, but you're going to be going to 5th fret instead this time. Okay? And then you've got... Okay, and the next part, from what I've gathered, is like a little picked run. So after you go with your 4 pull open and then pick 5, you're going to do 2 strums again. And then what I hear is this, which is 4 open, 5, 4 open. So now you could finish that instead of the open 3rd string. You could finish it with your middle finger on 5th fret, 4th string. It's the same note. Okay, but for me, it's gone by that fast. It's just easier to keep it all on one string. So it's instead of. So it's entirely up to you what you do there. Okay, so that little part on its own. Okay, or entirely up to you. So everything that we've got so far looks something like this. Next part. Just repeats what the first part did. This time, the licky part in between, it's a pinch harmonic if I can get it. Okay? And this is what has a lot of people confused, but it's just a pinch harmonic, okay? So it's going to be over on a 5th fret 3rd string. It's a very sort of bluesy kind of lick pentatonic lick kind of thing. And what you're doing there is you're taking your 3rd finger, 7th fret. I leave my 1st finger in 5, just to help me do that bend. And I'm going to pinch it. Best way to get a pinch, we've talked about this before, I got a whole video on this, but you know, you're just hitting the string with your thumb right after the pick's hitting it, okay? And find where the harmonics are most rich in this area right here, and sort of pick along the string until it starts really popping out, and you kind of remember where it is and let muscle memory just kick in from there, okay? So you've got a pinch harmonic on 7, and then a pick 5, hammer to 7, pull back to 5, so it's... And that bend, by the way, I find it's really useful to get it toward the floor. Like that. So, that part of the riff altogether. Okay, so everything we've got so far looks like this. Okay, so that's that up to that point. And the last part goes something like this. Okay, so that is pretty much what's going on the second time round, but with a variation. So you've got your bar chords, but this time you come into 5th fret, and you're gonna do your 4 pull open to 5 thing, then back to your chords. Then what I hear after that is pull offs. Okay, so you're gonna pick 4, pull open, and then 5, pull to 4, pull to open on the 3rd string. And, you know, this album's loaded with that sort of thing. If you've learned the Poison or some of the tracks on Screaming Fire, even, it's full of that same sort of, you know, polyoffy notes to open notes. So you'll have. Okay, so I'm going to put the whole thing together for you now, nice and slow. That's your sections. And yeah, just pay attention, I guess, and try and get it from there. So. That's where it ends right there. Okay, so that is your chorus number 1 left guitar. Let's take a look at what's going on over there on the right. It's pretty much the same thing with the bar chords and stuff. You're just going to be doing higher notes up the fretboard, okay? So I'll play it through for you and then we'll break it down. Okay, something like that. I think it's pull-offs at the end. On a slide, but I'll show you that when we get to it. So it's going to start off with the same idea with the bar chord. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come to your 7th fret again. But it's the same idea, but instead of the 4 to 5, you're going to do a 7 to 9. Okay, so you've got pick 7, pull open, pick 9. Okay, next part goes to 5th fret. And the way he's doing that in between, I believe it's because it's picked this little part. Okay, so it's going to be palm muted. And he goes 7 open, and then 9, 7, 5. Okay. There may be some slides and things like that to account for the sheer speed of it, but again, this is what I'm hearing. This is my interpretation. Okay, so you've got. Okay. Then what we've got, it starts again with the bar chord. Okay, so it goes back to the idea of the 7 to 9. Then what he does is the chord in between on 7th fret, and he joins in with that bendy thing. That's in unison there. They're playing exactly the same thing with a pinch harmonic that we did over on the left guitar, okay? So don't need to explain that. You just throw that in there at the end. So that one all together. Okay. Then the last part. Something like that. So it starts off with the bar chords again. And you're going to go to 5. Your pull-offs on 7 and 9s. And your 5 in the middle bar chord. And then what he does, I believe, anyway, what I'm hearing, is it's the same idea, but, you know, he's pulling 2 open notes down here on the left, but we need the higher version, so you're going to have to find that note on the board itself. That takes you down to 5th fret. 3rd string, so it's going to be a 7 pick to pull to open, and then you're going to pick 9, pull to 7, and slide it down to 5. Okay, so it'd be. Okay, so that is your right guitar. I'll play the full thing in its entirety now for you. Okay, so you put that together, pick a guitar, it should fit with the track. And I hope that explains that awkward chorus and how it all fits together. Just remember, if there's a little bit of overlap, you know, you can hear on the track and it sounds like there's more notes there than there should be. That's because everything is recorded separately. You know, they'll put the main jabs in, like I said, and then they'll put the licky leady things in between that on top. And that's why it sounds so tight, and it can be quite hard to pull off, you know, and get it equally as tight in real time when you're playing all the parts. So that is chorus number 1, and make sure that you're happy with that, because that is going to be all of your choruses for the rest of the song, okay? That takes us through into verse number 2. Good news, it's exactly the same thing as verse number 1, just your riffs twice over, left and right guitars. That takes us over into chorus number 2. Good news, it's exactly the same thing as we just learned, so Just pick a guitar, follow it, that'll get you through. And that'll take us through into the guitar solo rhythm right now, which is really fun. Massively underrated bullet riff right here that doesn't really get a whole lot of attention. So I'll play it through for you, and then we'll break it down. So this is going to start off with your A power chord right here on 2nd fret. Okay, and it's going to be best if I just sort of like play this one because it's quite long, and I'll just guide you through as we go. Watch my picking pattern on this. Okay, that's what's going to get you through the first half. You got to watch out though, because the rhythm completely changes about halfway through. But that'll get you through the first part. Okay, and then after that, you're going to go up to a C5 power chord, 3 and 5 on the 5th and 4th string. Okay, and it's all with a down pick, this one, by the way, which is why it probably sounds so tight on the record. Okay, so you've got... And you've got accents in the middle there. So you're making that last one of the bunch pop out by taking your palm off the bridge, okay? So you've got... Okay, now you got to watch out when you get to the C5, because that's when things change. You're going to do dun, 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 exactly the same rhythm, just times once. And then strum it twice. And stop it in the middle. Like that. Okay, so it's... Okay, so you've got... Okay? Then what you've got is this. Fairly straightforward, but that change in rhythm, that's the thing that'll catch you out. It's straightforward stuff, but it kind of, the way it flips, it catches me out anyway. This is actually more fun to play than the solo for me personally, because it's just such a fun rhythm section. So the next part is just 3rd fret power chord on the 6th string, followed by a 5th fret power chord on the 6th string. So you've got... Okay. So everything so far? Then what you've got is this cool little licky thing, which is really cool, single notes. And that's what I hear anyway. I've heard it differently over the years, but after spending some time with it this week, I believe this is what's going on. So you've got... So it's going to be 3, 5, 3 on the 6th string, palm muted. Then you've got on the 5th string, 3, 2, and then back to your 5th fret on the 6th string. So it's... Okay. So everything so far? Okay. Then what you've got is just some straight gallops. So it's pretty tight. And it's just a down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. You've heard it before. hardwired battery, all that sort of thing, Metallica. You're starting off on the A chord. Like that, then up to the C. Okay, so it's... Then you're going to be going to... you power chord on the 3rd fret, 6th string. And then you've got your 5th fret right here on 6th string. Cut it right there, okay? So it's better if I just play this and you see what's going on. Just follow my picking, keep it tight, keep it palm muted, and it looks something like this. Okay, so your guitar solo rhythm section in its entirety, something like this. And that's it. And that, by the way, is your left and your right guitars together doing that. They're just locked in real tight, left and right, doing all those parts right there. That takes us through into bridge section part 1, where the guitars are splitting back off, okay? You've got the guitar on the left, which is doing the very bullet metalcore riff, which is going to carry on into bridge section part 2. But for guitar over on the right, we're going to be doing some hangs and some stabs and stuff like that. So we'll take the main riff that's over on the left first, and then we'll go from there. So this is your bridge section part 1, guitar left. Okay, so that is really hard to do without the track playing to keep me in time, but that's it. So it's the same riff through twice, but you're going to be ending with a little slidey single note thing at the end. So what have we got? It's back to pedal points again. Okay, so that is... So your notes are on the 4th string. You've got 10 and 9 up to 12 with the pinky. So then your 12 to your 9. And they're all pull-offs in the middle. Your pedal points in between. Okay, and that's the riff. You're just going to be moving the bass note or the pedal point right the way through it. So it's... Then, once you've played that twice, move your pedal point over onto 8th fret, 5th string. Okay, and you're going to have to change your fingers around now, okay, in order to do that. So I'm going to be doing my middle 2 fingers for frets 10 and 9. So it's the same pattern. Reaching out with my pinky to do that pull off to my middle finger. Okay. You do that once through. Then what you're going to do is you're going to move your pedal point, your bass note, up to 10th fret, or not on the 5th string, okay? And you're going to have to swap your fingers around again to get this, okay? So I'm using my middle finger now. My 3rd finger comes underneath for the 10, and my 1st finger comes underneath for the 9 on the 4th string. It's still my pinky going up to the 12. But it's the same pattern. Okay, so if you stick that together, you'll get this. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to repeat it, but you're going to cut it short. It looks something like this. Okay, so it's exactly the same thing, but once you get to the pedal point on the 10th fret, you got your 2 palm mutes, and then you're going to do, you're going to pick, slide to 12, and then pick 10 on the 4th string, so like that. So that second part of it will be like this. Okay, so bridge part 1, left guitar in its entirety. Okay, so that is your bridge part 1, left guitar. Make sure you're happy with that because it's pretty much doing that the same thing for bridge part 2. Okay, what we'll do now is we'll look at the right guitar for bridge part 1, which is the sort of like the hangs coming out of the solo guitar rhythm. And I'll play it through for you, and then I'll show you what's going on. It's probably easier for you to just follow what I'm doing here, actually, rather than breaking it down too much, because it is quite simple, okay? So coming out of the guitar solo, it ends with a big A. Okay, that's it. And you'll find that those notes, they work together as like the counterpoint. Okay, so what's going on? It's very simple. You start with a big A chord. Listen to the track, it moves to a C. Then you got your 3rd fret, 6th string, then up to 5. Then after that, you're going to do a big slide down, and then it goes to palm mutes. Slide, 3, 5, and then stick your little tail on the end there, which is 10, 9 on the 3rd string. Okay, so very simple stuff right there. Again, it's just going to be better if you follow my guitar. I'll play it through once more for you, and we'll move on to the next part. Okay, very, very simple stuff right there. So that is your bridge section part 1. Bridge section part 2, it's your left guitar is going to be doing the same thing, but you're just going to repeat that riff we played twice. No slidey sort of at the end, okay? So I'll play it through for you, but we've already done it. It's just the main riff twice. Looks something like this. Okay, so that's that. What we haven't done is what the right guitar is doing, so we're going to do that now. And that is the counterpoint to that riff, okay? There's a couple of ways you can do it, but I think this is the way I see Padge doing it live. It is going to involve string skipping. I'll play it through for you, and we'll break it down. Okay, it is that riff twice, and it's a really awkward riff, that. So I'll break it down for you. It involves string skipping. You're pedaling off of the open fifth string again, but your pulley-offy notes this time are going to be in the 7, 9, 10 region on the third string. So it's going to be, so it's the same pattern, just different frets, different strings. Okay, so it's, you pull in from your 9s to your 7s, then up with your pinky to your 10, and you're doing that hammer on from 7 to 9. So you've got something like that. The awkward thing about harmonies is when you practice them on their own, they sound nothing like, you know, what you're expecting, and then you layer it over the track and it's like, it fits in like a jigsaw. So, you know, so if it sounds a bit odd, it's gonna without the other guitar underneath, okay? So after that, what we want to do is you want to move to the same bass notes that we did over on the left guitar, which is your 8 and 10 on the 5th string, okay? So after we've done that, middle finger comes up now, and this is where it gets a bit hectic, because your middle finger is not going to be able to stretch later, so you're going to have to swap out again. So start with your middle finger, same pattern, but your middle finger's on the 5th string, pedal point, 8th fret. Then what's going to have to happen is your third finger is going to have to reach up for that 10th fret, and you've got this big old stretch now. And your middle finger is going to be taking care of the 9th fret, okay? So it's, and your pinky, as usual, taking care of the 10. So it's quite stretched that. That's, I think, with looking at concert footage and stuff, I think that's how Padge is doing it. So here we go. Middle finger comes up. Then third finger comes up and swap. And you're going to play that through twice, okay? So I'll do that for you now, and that'll take care of bridge part 2. Okay, so that is it. That is your bridge part 2, right guitar and both guitars for that. There is one last little detail on that bridge section if we want to be thorough, which is it's an octave lead that comes over the top. Looks something like this. Okay, so I'll show you that now. That happens on the second run through of bridge part 2, okay? So it's just your standard octave chords. Okay, you've got your 12th fret, skip a string, get your fingers nice and flat so you don't catch that string in the middle, your pinky or third finger, it's entirely up to you. It's gonna do a 3rd string, 14th fret, that's your octave shape. Probably preaching to the choir here, right? We all know that at this point. And just make sure that your fingers are nice and flat when you do an octave chord, otherwise you'll get which is not what you want, right? You only want those two notes popping out. You see how flat my hands go? I can strum across all of that and only get those two notes to pop out, and that's what you want, okay? It's the same note. Just an octave higher, right? So you're going to start with your 12. Move up, same shape for all of it. Move up to 14, 16. Move up 1 fret to 15, 17. Move up 17 and 19. Then back 17 and 15. And then back to 14, 16. Okay, so all of that together. And cut it right there. Okay, so that is your little lead guitar octave lead that comes over the top of bridge part 2. Okay, so that takes us through into verse number 3. The good news is that it's exactly the same thing as all your previous verses. So I'm not going to play any of that for you. The only thing I will say to you is the right guitar just drops out for the first part of it. So when you go, just start off over on the left guitar, the lower guitar on that. Use your ear, listen to the track. You'll hear it, and you'll hear precisely when the right guitar comes in. So the right guitar just drops for the first part of that. Okay, so that is your verse number 3. Exactly the same guitars left and right, pretty much. That takes us through into chorus number 3, which is exactly the same thing. However, it's just got a repeated run at the end of it. So I'll show you what's going on there. Okay, so you're going to be repeating that little line. It finishes off the same way. But I'll play each guitar for you and you can piece it together from there, because it's exactly the same thing. You just put in that repeat on the end. So left guitar first. It stops right there, okay? The guitar over on the right is just doing exactly the same thing, but it's just the higher note, so... You repeat 3 times and then finish it as you would over in the previous choruses. Okay? So, guitar over on the right. Okay, so that is your chorus number 3, both guitars. That's the last chorus for the song. That leads us over into the outro riff. Guitars left and right. It's basically the main riff, but it just cuts off on the slidey, pulley-offy run. So I'll show you how it goes. Guitar left. And you're finishing up on that 2nd fret, 3rd string this time, so right there, okay? So okay, so that's your guitar that's over on the left. Guitar on the right, it's just the higher version of it, okay? But you'll be finishing on 5th fret, 3rd string, okay? So it's... right there, okay? And that is all of your rhythm guitar parts for Suffocating Under Words of Sorrow. Nothing too difficult once you get it down, but it's just that chorus section, man. It's really tight, but hopefully I've slowed it down enough and gone over it enough so that you can get it and put it together yourselves. So what we'll do now is we'll move over into the guitar solo. This is Matt's guitar solo. He plays it on the record and live. There are some little harmony parts that come over the top of it, and I'll show you those at the end. But this main sort of meat of the guitar solo, this is exactly what Matt plays live, and this is sort of like the main part of it. And this is a really good solo, by the way, for beginners, you know, who are looking to start playing this kind of music. You know, you'll find that, you know, a little bit like in Metallica with James and Kirk, James doesn't take too many guitar solos, but when he does, they're not really difficult ones. It's the same with Matt and Padge, you know, but the real technical stuff is what Padge sort of takes care of. But with Matt, his solos are quite straightforward and straight to the point, quite melodic. Okay, so this is a really good solo for you beginners out there who are looking to get into this sort of style of playing. I'll play it through and we'll break it down. Something like that. Just one little note. If you want that warm sort of guitar tone, that's if you switch over onto your neck pickup, that'll give you that sound right there. Okay, we'll take it section by section, and so this is the first one. Okay, so sliding in with your middle finger onto 2nd string, 10th fret. Then your first finger is going to come over onto 9th fret, 3rd string. And then you're going to do middle finger to pinky, which is 10, 12 on the 2nd string. So then come up to 13th fret and walk it down. So you've got 13, 12, 10. Okay, so then you're going to finish off with the sort of the notes that you came from, which is going to be 10 to 9 on the 3rd string. Okay, so you've got next. So I slide in. It pretty much starts the same way. You're sliding into 9th fret on the 3rd. Middle finger goes to 10 on the 2nd string. And then you're going to pick 12, okay? Now, when you pick 12, you've got this, like, wobbly sort of bend thing, and I'll show you. And that is a half-step bend right there, so you're only making it sound like the fret next door. So you might as well be going like that, but obviously that's not the point. But that's how far up you're going. It's a half-step bend. Yeah, not a whole step or anything like that, just a subtle. Okay, and you're going to do it 3 times, okay? So you got like that. And all bending comes from the wrist. A lot of people, you know, when you start out playing guitar, seem to think it's all from the fingers. But if you watch, my fingers aren't moving. It's my wrist that's pivoting. Okay? So that part. Okay, then finish it off. You've got back on the 3rd string, 9 to 10. Okay, so. Okay, so you've got all together so far. Okay, this next part, make a mental note. This is where the harmony guitar comes in that I'll show you later, okay? You've got this part. Okay, so slide in. But this time you're going into 10. Don't believe what the tabs say. There's a reason for that, and I'll show you why. And you're going to be going 10, 10, so third string, second string, then 12. And I sort of pick 12, slide to 13, then pick 12 again. Then I do the same idea from 13 to 15. So I've got okay. Something like that. Then what you've got is this. Very simple. Just 13, 15, 13. And then you do this sort of trilly kind of thing. So pick 13, hammer 15, pull to 13, slide back to 12. Okay? Okay? So that's everything so far. By the way, these little, you could just... You know, you could avoid putting all the little nuances in there, little slides into notes and stuff, but for me, it just kind of fills that out a little bit more and makes it a little bit more, less ear-piercing, I guess you could say, a little less whiny, and it just puts a little bit more feel into it, okay? So, everything we've got so far, I think that's the entirety of section 1. Okay, so that's your section 1. The next part is the tap part. So that looks something like this. So for anybody who's new to tapping, don't be discouraged there and think, oh, well, that's going to be too hard. This is very doable. This is a very easy tap to run. It's absolutely saturated in wah as well, this part as well. So it's a little tricky to hear precisely what's going on, but I believe this is it from the little video that I watched of Matt and Padge playing it. So your hammer on and pull off your hand, your left hand, well, that's going to be doing. That's going to be over on the third string. And you got a 7 and 9th fret, okay? And the tap notes that you're going to be doing are 12 and 14, okay? And we'll break it down nice and easy into little sections so you can get it. So the first part wants to look like this. Okay? So what I'm doing there is I'm tapping with my middle finger. You use your first if you want. It depends, you know, what kind of player you are at the end of the day. When I do tapping, because I obviously don't want to drop the pick for it, I do it with my middle finger. I hide the pick underneath my first finger like this. And then my thumb sits on the top. That's my anchor point. You know, if you try doing tapping like that, you're just going to have no rhythm and no consistency. So my thumb rests on the top of the neck like this, okay? And this way I've got a nice, you know, articulate way to get in with my tap, okay? So what you're going to be doing is that twice, okay? So you're going to tap 12, pull to your first finger on 7, and then what you're going to do is while that note's out, you're going to hammer 9, pull back to 7, hammer 9. Like that. Okay? Okay, so you're going to do that once. Then you're going to do exactly the same thing, but just bring your tap-in finger up to 14th fret. Okay, so you've got... And then we repeat. So you've got... Okay? So it's 12, 14, 12, 14. Then what you're going to do is you're going to kind of split it a little bit and you're going to go and just do 2 12s. So it's... But you're only going to be doing one of those hammer-on-y pulley things down the bottom there on 7 9. So it's... Okay? So you've got... So everything so far. And again. Okay. Then what you do is we just finish it off by doing the first part times 2 again. Okay, so you've got... Okay, just like that. Exactly what you did to lead into the solo. Okay, and the last thing once you finish up on 14 is you just want to do a big slide. And it will be sort of hammered. Okay? Because you ain't got time to pick that. So when I come out of that, yeah, I ain't got time to pick that note. And I just kind of run my fingers up and down the 6th and 5th strings, or just the single string even, you know, just the 6th string will do. So that section 2 all together with the taps. Okay, and again. Okay, next we've got a real simple sort of melodic, you know, natural minor thing going on, and it looks something like this. Okay, make a mental note because that's where the second harmony is going to come in that I'm going to show you after we're done with the main body of the solo. So this section 3 is very, very simple now. You've got just slide in to 7th fret, 3rd string. Then you're just going to pick 4, 5, 7 on the 3rd string. So you got... Then go back to 5, 7, back to 5, 4. Okay, so you've got... Okay, then to finish, nice little trill idea, which is 4, hammer to 5, pull to 4, slide down to 2, 3rd string. Okay? Okay, so you've got... Okay, and that is your section 3. Very, very simple stuff right there. So I'll play the solo in its entirety now, and then I'll show you the guitar harmonies, and I guess we're going to be done at that point. So here we go. And there you go. That is your guitar solo, the main body of it anyway, okay? So real simple stuff right there. Don't need to explain too much more about that. What I'll do now is I'll show you the harmonies for each little section I told you to make a mental note of, okay? So the first harmony that you've got goes over the top of... Okay, and this can be really cool if you're jamming along to the song and just splitting off and doing this little part. This is what will happen live. Padge will come off the rhythm guitar and he'll join in for this part and the other little part later. And it's really cool. It's got that you know, traditional bullet sound, you know. And I told you earlier to lead in with the 10th fret, and that's because we're going to do exactly the same thing for this. There's one note we're going to have in common, which is the lead in note, okay? And it's going to go something like this. Okay? So he's going to slide in with the 10, and then you're going to go skip string, and you're going to go first string. And it's going to be the same picking patterns for this, okay? So you've got 8 to 10, 10 to 12, and then 12 to 13. All on the first string, so you've got... Then... Okay, which is 12, 13, 12, and then your little pick, hammer, pull, slide down to 10. Okay, so that all together. Okay, so that's that little section. So that sits over sort of the back end. You'll hear when it comes in, that sits over the back end of section 1, okay? And then the last little harmony is going to be right at the end of section 3, and it goes something like this. Okay, it's only there for, you know, just at the back end of it, but it's really effective live when the rhythm guitars stop and they're both doing that together. So I'll show you what's going on. You're just going to slide into 9 on 3rd string, 9, 10, 9, back to 7, and then pick 7, hammer 9, pull 7, slide down to 5. So what I'll do for you now is I'll play the solo with those harmonies in, just so you can see where they come in exactly. So I'll split off from the main body of it and play that for you now. So it goes something like this. Okay, and that is your guitar solo with the harmonies instead of the main sort of meat of it right there. So there you go, guys. That is all your guitar parts, to my knowledge anyway, for Suffocating Under Words of Sorrow. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Most importantly, I hope you learned something. Yeah, just let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. It's always greatly appreciated. So much work goes into making these lesson videos, you know, a lot of time and effort, so between like learning the song, breaking it down, editing it and stuff like that. So if you enjoyed this lesson, please do feel free to leave a like and a comment. Let me know what you think, as it's really greatly appreciated. And of course, if you're new here, please be sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Also, be sure to let me know down in the comments what you want to see me do next, what covers, what lessons, what you want to see me talk about, all that sort of stuff. Be sure to check out my band as well, Lost Cause, if you haven't already. Links are down below in the description. And if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much for your continued support. I really hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.